Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Aaron Carter? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of Aaron Carter, then I'll move to my analysis. Aaron Carter was born in Tampa, Florida on December 7, 1987. His parents, Robert and Jane, made a living by managing a retirement home. Aaron had a brother and 3 sisters. In 1997, at the age of 9, Aaron started his musical career. In March of that year, he made his first solo appearance opening for a band named the Backstreet Boys. Aaron's brother Nick was a member of this band. Aaron landed a record contract and released his first studio album toward the end of 1997. It was fairly successful. He released a second album in September of 2000. This one performed exceptionally well, selling more than 3 million copies in the United States. In 2001, Aaron started acting in addition to being a singer. He started dating Hilary Duff. They would date on and off for the next couple of years. He also dated other celebrities, including Lindsay Lohan. Aaron released his third album in August of that year and his fourth album in September 2002. Aaron continued to enjoy quite a bit of success over the next several years. He was on a reality show for 2 months along with his siblings. It was called House of Carters. Aaron was arrested in February of 2008 after being pulled over for speeding. He had marijuana in his possession. Aaron appeared on Dancing with the Stars in 2009. In 2011, he was treated at a mental health facility for what his manager referred to as emotional and spiritual issues. In 2012, Aaron's sister Leslie died from a drug overdose. Aaron starred in an off-Broadway production in New York City. He went on tour in 2013 and in 2014. Despite all his success, Aaron filed for bankruptcy in late 2013. Evidently, he wasn't a big fan of paying his taxes. He owed over $1.3 million. In July of 2015, Aaron was arrested again, this time for DUI and possession of marijuana. In February of 2018, he released his 5th album. In 2019, Aaron's siblings, Nick and Angel, filed a restraining order against him. Allegedly, Aaron admitted that he had thoughts of murdering Nick's wife, who at that time was pregnant. In March of 2020, Aaron set up an OnlyFans account and started charging between $50 and $100 for clothing-challenged photos of himself. His OnlyFans page was criticized as bizarre and overpriced. Aaron purchased a home in Lancaster, California in November of 2020. He paid $620,000. Not long after buying the house, he listed it for sale for just under $850,000. The price eventually dropped to just under $800,000. In September of 2022, Aaron was treated in a mental health facility for substance use problems. On November 5 of that same year, Aaron Carter was found dead in his bathtub at his home by a house sitter. He was 34 years old. At the time making this video, his cause of death has not been reported. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Aaron Carter had a number of mental health issues during his life. In 2019, he claimed that he had been diagnosed with anxiety, multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. This is a confusing diagnostic picture for at least 2 reasons. First, the term multiple personality disorder has not been used as a diagnosis for many years. It is called dissociative identity disorder, and it's extremely rare if it actually exists at all. It's a highly controversial diagnosis that many researchers believe is pseudoscience. Second, if somebody meets the full criteria for both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, then technically the diagnosis that they would receive would be schizoaffective disorder. That disorder is a combination of schizophrenia symptoms along with manic or depressive episodes. Aaron also appeared to have trouble regulating his use of substances. He used narcotics, benzodiazepines, and marijuana. He said that he became hooked on drugs when he inhaled aerosol chemicals from cans. This practice is also referred to as huffing. He had seizures as a result. Item number 2. Aaron had a tumultuous relationship with his siblings. Years after his sister Leslie died, he said that she had abused him in a sexual manner for 3 years, starting when he was 10 years old. Aaron made allegations against his brother Nick as well. His brother's legal team denied these allegations. It's not clear why Aaron made these allegations against his siblings. Was he telling the truth? Was he just trying to hurt them? Perhaps it had something to do with this feeling like he was living in the shadow of his brother Nick Carter. Aaron specifically accused his sisters of abandoning him once he ran into financial problems, like they enjoyed his access to millions of dollars, but when he no longer had that, they threw him away. Item number 3. Aaron Carter started his musical career at the age of 9. This, of course, greatly changed the trajectory of his life. He was pulled out of school in the 2nd grade and homeschooled as he advanced his career. I think it is reasonable to believe that the quality of his education was lacking, not necessarily because of any problem with the curriculum. Rather, it's just hard to imagine that there was simply enough time to be a performer and a student. Child fame always damages certain elements of development. Education is typically one of the first victims. Item number 4. Aaron Carter grew up in the shadow of his more famous brother, Nick Carter. He was always in the back seat compared to the Backstreet Boys. Nick's fame was certainly a major contributor to Aaron being famous, but Aaron was not necessarily untalented. He was a decent singer. His acting skills needed a lot of work, but as far as his financial success, singing was all he needed. Even still, his window for achieving fame was not infinite. Aaron's best chance of a successful career was to capture the fame that he could while trying to avoid making any mistakes that could set him back. In a sense, his opportunity for fame was fragile. Unfortunately, Aaron made a number of mistakes, many of them related to his substance use. Once Aaron fell from grace, there wasn't really any route for him to reignite his fame. His brother Nick Carter was kind of like a pilot light. Without that initial flame, Aaron was not able to achieve success. Aaron had alienated his brothers and his sisters. He was now an outsider. Fame is fickle, and Aaron did not appreciate how quickly he could be excluded from that club. Which brings me to item number 5. Aaron desperately wanted to get back in the spotlight. Toward the end of his life, he was looking for any way to be well regarded, even ways that had nothing to do with his singing or acting abilities. During an interview with a media outlet, Aaron talked about how he was angry about his public image. He believed that the public viewed him as a train wreck, and he did not deserve this reputation. Aaron claimed that he could not shake the image of being a washed-up drug addict. He complained that the public was not interested in his success story. He was confused as to why the singer Demi Lovato's recovery was celebrated while his recovery was being ignored. He said that he had almost 5 years of being clean, but the media wasn't paying as much attention to him as he deserved. Aaron claimed to be a living testament to the idea that, quote, "you can do it," unquote. I believe this statement is only true if the "it" in that phrase is destroying one's career with substance use. Aaron went on to say, "I am a success story. I am going to continue to be that whether anyone chooses me or not. I am a good person to look up to as an inspiration on how to keep pushing and never giving up. I'm never going to stop doing this." Item number 6. As I mentioned, Aaron Carter bought a house in Lancaster, California. His neighbors said that he was problematic from day one. There was always a commotion at his house, like loud music. He would argue with his on-again, off-again girlfriend, named Melanie, all hours of the day. At least 3 neighbors called the police on Aaron. One neighbor knocked on his door. After Melanie answered, the neighbor asked if they could turn down the music. A few minutes later, Aaron allegedly exited his house and banged on the neighbor's door, calling them impolite names. The neighbor ordered Aaron to leave the property, and the police were notified. but no arrests were made. Evidently, Aaron owned or was caring for a Dalmatian. Neighbors said that he would hit the dog and yell at the dog, but then one day, the dog was gone. Neighbors suggested that Aaron was arrogant. He thought he was better than everyone else in the neighborhood. He would brag about how his house was larger than most in the area, and he had better vehicles. Neighbors said that it was a shame that he died, but they were glad he was no longer in the neighborhood. It would appear as though Aaron was seeking attention without regard to whether it was positive or negative, and that his living situation was chaotic. Sometimes people who are severely affected by substance use drag everybody into their misery. This brings me to item number 7. How would I conceptualize the case of Aaron Carter? This is just a theory, my opinion. After Aaron Carter died, his brother Nick suggested the villains in Aaron's case were mental illness and addiction. I think that Nick could very well be correct. But how the mental illness and addiction became the villains is the question. One possibility is that Aaron had too much fame, power, and money too quickly. He became addicted to the celebrity lifestyle before any interest in drugs. When he realized that he squandered his opportunity for enduring fame, all he was left with was the drugs. Fame allowed him to have access to substances, and substances filled the void left as his fame eroded. Only substance use could approximate the high of fame. It was the only thing that could provide anything close to that feeling. Aaron realized that his substance use was destroying his life. Therefore, he tried to get that high in another way, by representing himself as a role model and an inspiration to everyone. His plan was not successful. The public was not concerned whether Aaron was clean or not. Being clean was not going to grant Aaron a way back into the spotlight. Being clean is its own reward, but Aaron Carter wanted more. Item number 8. What personality profile could be at work in the case of Aaron Carter? Again, this is just a theory, my opinion. I often conceptualize personality using the 5-factor model. I remember the 5 factors through the acronym OCEAN: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Aaron appeared to have mid-range to above-average openness to experience. He was somewhat creative. His level of conscientiousness appears to be quite low. For example, he was not very cautious. His level of extroversion appears to be high. He was talkative and sensation-seeking. His level of agreeableness was probably low to mid-range. For example, all the arguing with the neighbors doesn't seem very altruistic, and he certainly was not modest. And his level of neuroticism appeared to be quite high. He had difficulty resisting temptation, and he appeared to be depressed and anxious. Now moving to my final thoughts. Before Aaron Carter died, he talked about writing the next chapter of his life. He had a lot to look forward to. He believed that he was on his way to magnificent places. This is one of the cruel aspects of substance use. Substances trick their most severely damaged victims into believing that they can do anything, that success is easy to achieve, that substances don't really do that much damage, that there is a next chapter, when the next chapter of severe and chronic substance use is often far darker than substance users believe. Those are my thoughts in the case of Aaron Carter. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.